So here we are, a few hours later. I think I've extracted all that I want to extract out of there. All 7 of the frames have been cracked. Jars of honey, which I will show you later in my workshop. How much honey came from each of these frames. Not as I would have predicted, actually, the amount from each one. So I've closed the last of these up now. I can put the stoppers back in. Just waiting for the last few drips of honey to come out. The bees are going absolutely mad inside of the flow frame. I guess wondering where the honey's all gone and starting to prepare it again. So I'll take these jars away, then the next thing I'm going to do is take the top off, take the crown board off, take the super off, and put the crown board on top of the queen excluder, and then leave this frame on for the bees to continue cleaning up as they are now for 3 days, maximum 3 days. You do not want them to start putting honey back in, and then I'm going to take it off. And the big decision will be whether to just leave them with the brood box or to put on the conventional super, which I did buy, that they could perhaps fill up with more honey from the ivy just to feed themselves in the winter. I suspect that is what I'm going to do, because I don't know, this is full of bees, and already the brood box is full of bees. Where do all the bees go if I don't give them some space, is what concerns me. So the last few drips now coming out. I will just wait for that a little bit. There's a nosy bee come around here. I don't want to telling the others this is where the honey is. I'm getting more bees to come. You just I want to flick her out the way, but maybe not. She's buzzing her wings a bit, which I'm sure is a communication thing. So take this tube out, bit of honey running there, clean it up a bit. Ooh, bees definitely don't see that honey. Wipe it away. I can stop it. Take this one away first. Okay, that's 2 now to take out. This one. The bee is very nosy, isn't it? It's definitely communicating to some of the bees. Take this one. It's because it's warm, I think. There we go. So that's all the honey out. Seal them back up. Move away this bee. Come on. Move away that bee. Put this cover back on. Back in a moment. Taking the top off the bee now. Okay, I'm fully suited up now. It's the roof off. A tool is needed here. Hopefully, these in here are not too angry. I've got no smoke today, I've just realised. Put that here so the bees can return back. Very hard to say what's going on in there. Really need these bees to come up here so I can take this out. I need to take the top off. There we go. When I put that back on, the only way for the bees to get in and out of here is going to be through there. So, right. Now I'm gently lifting this. Ready to move. Maybe I should put the gloves on. I've got no smoke. Why are you there? Well, just to be 100% safe. Because I've got no smoke today. Just telling Susan to move. She's over the garden. She's still not moving. It's coming off right now. I won't be very long. This is quite light now, obviously, because there are so many, all the honey is taken out of it. It's much lighter than the last time I was in there. So now, the crown board here is going to go on here. There's a bit of space there so it won't squeeze the bees. Crown board is on. All the bees are on now. They're everywhere. And this back on. So now, as I say, the only way for these bees to get in and out of the main hive is through that one small hole. And they should just, God, they're everywhere. I don't know why there's so many of them. I'm going to have to try and just realised now I've got absolutely nothing to cover this. Wow. I don't want them inside of the roof. So I've just very hastily decided I'm going to put this on top and then cover the hole inside of it. But first of all, I'm going to have to gently, as it were, gently get bees to leave the edge. As you can see, there's so many of them on the edge here that if I've got to somehow put them off here so I can put this on. Come on, bees. Clear off. Come on now. Clear off. So many bees in there. Get off. Come on, bees. You'll get squashed. All of you. Move away. There we go. So, there we go. They really are sticking to the outside of the hive today. Right. So I'll just put this on top of there. Okay. And that should be fine. So, Sunday now. We come back Tuesday and take that off and probably put a super on instead. Wow, there are all the bees. Very confused, I suppose, because all of their honey is gone. They're everywhere on the outside of the hive. I'll show you in a moment, before I then take you inside. Okay, just move this. And moving it, I'll sort of try to give you a picture of what's going on in the hive. This is what's going on since I removed all of the honey. The bees are not too happy, I think, that all of their honey has disappeared. Hopefully they'll all calm down and go back inside, do whatever they're supposed to be doing later. Let's hope. So let's now set up in here. There we go. I'll take my bee suit up. I'm feeling rather hot. Been in this for quite some time, extracting honey. And as I do that, I'll point out. So the 7 rows of honey there, representing the floor hive frames, 1 to 7, and there's a bit of variation in colour. So starting here, this is number 1. So that's on the far left edge. Produced almost 3 jars of honey, more than I expected. Number 2, 3 and a little bit. jars of honey. Third one, like 1/2 jars come out of that. Fourth one, 2 full jars. Fifth one, 1 and less than a half. Sixth one, 1. And seventh one, far right edge, 2 and a bit. So rather surprising results. I'd assumed the honey would have been concentrated in the middle and not at all at the edges. The opposite is true. There's more honey on the outside than the inside. So this honey's been here a couple of hours. It should have by now therefore reached a point at which I could take a Brix reading. So I'm going to try and do that now. Take a sample. So this is from frame 3 here. Taking some of this in this pipette, this honey. Putting it onto the plate, which is what you do here. Enough to cover the prism, its entirety. You then press this plate down, make sure there's no bubbles, and it's completely covered. And then looking towards the light. So the Brix reading on this is not good. It's 76. Wow, it needs to be 80 to be usable. So I'm going to write down all of the Brix ratings. The different one, that was number 3, is 76. So that's like 24% sugar. That is more sugar than permissible. So that's not a good reading, I'm afraid. And clean up that, and try some from another sample. Let me try some from number 1 then. I had a feeling because there hasn't been enough time, really speaking, for it all to be capped. Now, uncapped honey is inevitably going to be of too much sugar content. So let's have a look at this one. That's 75, that's even worse. Number 1, 75. So as it stands, it looks like all of this honey I'm going to have to feed back to the bees. So we've got 75, none of it anywhere near 80. Unless it's 80, I can't use it. So this is number 2. Let's see what number 2 gives us. This refractometer is accurate and quick way of doing this. Here we go. Even worse, 73. It's the worst of all. So now you see the problem of trying to get honey late in the season when there isn't time for the bees to properly cap and finish presenting their honey. 74. I will do a test again tomorrow. I'm going to leave this all overnight. Test it again in the morning, just in case it's reading high because it's still too warm. It's possible, but it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 5. Oh, worst of all, that one's 70. That is far, far away. 30% water. Maybe a little bit of cross-contamination here, but I don't think enough to make any difference. I'm reading. I'm glad I bought this. I would have been completely and utterly unsure what to do without it. A good investment. $78, so that's the best one. It took a while there just to make sure I was getting the reading right. So this one's 78, the one with the least amount of honey, interestingly. Maybe that was mostly capped, what there was. 78, so that's the closest. And maybe, as I say, if I test again tomorrow, when it's all cooled down, I might get a better reading. Because that's only 2% away from being okay. And the last frame. Uh, 73. So, we have, in order, we have a 75, a 73, a 76, 74, 70, 78, 73. The only, it is interesting, it is the one with the least. Looks like the closest possibility for a jar of honey to keep. The rest of it, unless it is just so warm, I get a different reading tomorrow, but I doubt it. Is all going to be fed back to the bees. But I'm not even slightly disappointed by it, because I didn't even expect this year my bees to do anything in the flow hive. They'd be prepared. I didn't expect any honey to be produced this late in the year. As it is, they produce a very large amount of honey. I just wasn't able to give them the time to cap it because of my fear that they'll go out anytime now and start collecting loads of ivy honey, clog the frames up, and I wouldn't be able to get any of it out. So that fear has meant that I knew I was taking it too early, but who knows, this may be keepable, but some of it clearly this 73 here, 75s, 74 is going to have to go back to the bees. There's a 78 and a 76. 76 here. It's the ones with the least. Interesting. The two frames, barring this one, two frames with the least have actually got the highest bricks rating. So I'm going to put some lids on these, leave them overnight, test for sugar again in the morning, and see if there's any we can have. I must admit I have tasted it. It is delicious, and you could theoretically, if you wanted to consume it even with that sugar level now. You're just not supposed to keep it, because if you seal this up with this amount of sugar in, it could start fermenting in the jar and then just blow the jar up. It's not like it's not permissible or even appropriate for human consumption. If you had a whole load of people, hundreds of people, come in here now with some jam on their toast, some honey on their toast, you could feed them this and they love it and they come to know how. It's just you can't keep it if the water content is above 20%. Let's see what that tomorrow brings.